And howdy guys, in this video we're going to be talking about the architecture of the app and how it works with Traefik and with the Docker containers and all that stuff. And so it's going to be a technical deep dive, but while we're doing the technical deep dive, we're going to use this helpful Notebook LM app in order to create the visualizations for us to make it much easier for us. So all I needed to do is create a new Notebook LM project. You just press create notebook. And then all I need to do is added the link. So I just literally copy pasted the YouTube URLs of the first 7 videos, and it now has that context. Press enter and you're done. So what we're gonna ask is, we're gonna say, tell me about the architecture of Traefik routing all traffic, and then the OpenClaw Docker container also catching traffic on the VM, okay? And I'm gonna say make a visualization of the architecture, okay? Architecture and exposing 3004 with 3004 of the voice app on the Hostinger VPS, okay, on the VPS. And I think that that should be fine. I'm going to give it a minute in order to do its work. And we have our small little MD file over here that it generated for us. This is the internet / the user. It queries Cloudflare. Cloudflare queries the Hostinger VPS. Traefik is the container which is catching all traffic, which is then hitting the VPS, the container, right? And this VPS, it's routing all the traffic for the VPS. And then on port 3004, that is where our voice app is actually sitting. So that's internal app 3004 in our example. That's where we ran it. And then the OpenClaw container is sitting on a separate port, not on port 3004. All right, guys. So, and the other piece that's important to this is also the Cloudflare, because remember we said over here that there's the Cloudflare pretty much catching all traffic from the internet. That's where my domain is hosted, and I can manage the DNS of the domain. It might look different if you have a different provider for your domain name, but essentially go into your domain name provider, go into the DNS or wherever you're routing traffic, go into the records and press add a record, and you're going to add an A record where the name is OpenClaw and the content is the IP. And remember we mentioned beforehand that that IP is going to be the IP that is on the entire network over here, right? So that's root access SSH, that's the IP of your machine. So Cloudflare is hitting the Hostinger VPS. Within Hostinger VPS, we go into our Docker manager, into our Traefik for the example. And this is all somewhat of a matter of taste over here. I'm going to do manage the Traefik container. Okay, when I'm managing the Traefik container, then I can again set the environment variables that we spoke about beforehand. So acme email, ... that's for Traefik, but also what we have here is also I map port 3004 to port 3004 because the within our cursor, that is exactly where the app is running. If I go into cursor, a little bit about, remember we mentioned about how to connect to this beforehand. You need to actually open it up, one sec. And when we open up cursor within the VPS, then we see that we also have these 2 containers over here, these Docker containers. This is called the container manager. Okay, so you're going to go into here, you're going to download Docker, I believe something like that, and just download the top one. That's going to give you this containers. It shows you the containers. So like we said, Traefik is a Docker container and OpenClaw is its own Docker container. All right, guys, so I hope that helps somewhat. Again, this is the high-level architecture. Internet user hits the Cloudflare, which maps it to the VPS, which then maps it to the containers. All right, guys, hope you enjoyed. I'll see you in the next one.